Hey, what's up, Dean? Here Performance at the shop. And it's basically empty, but the Magnum's in. David's OBS was a nightmare with the throwout bearing. We bled it, and he came up every day, helped me bleed it and bleed it and bleed it and bleed it, and we can never get it to fully disengage. Like, it literally would not fully disengage. And that is the American Powertrain Hydromax throwout bearing. I mean, we took the transmission off, reclocked the throwout bearings so the lines were horizontal at the top. That was sort of my last ditch effort, that if the lines were pointing down, it was keeping air in the top of the throwout bearing. And that did not work. So I ended up calling Chris at Tick Performance. That is my rep, and the dude has always been phenomenal to me. Everybody there is always phenomenal. But immediately, as soon as he heard the Hydromax throwout bearing, he was like, throw it in the garbage, it's a paperweight. So I couldn't find anybody online that really said one way or the other. So I don't know if they kind of hide their stuff, but he recommended their universal throwout bearing, which he called like an F-body throwout bearing, but I'm not sure if it's an F-body or, which car design it is. It's basically a GM throwout bearing that they call it theirs. I assume they're labeling it theirs because they removed the factory bleeder and the factory like snap ring connect type line, and they put in AN line with a speed bleeder. So whatever, regardless. But David actually said that's the bearing that came with the transmission, and I immediately said, what do you mean? And he had mentioned another bearing, but I didn't put too much thought to it. I'm not a manual transmission guy. So he came up yesterday with that exact same bearing. I mean, part number for part number was the exact bearing. Luckily, I had some fittings to change over that little snap-in line. We left the factory like brass stem bleeder. Put it in the truck, put him up in the air. He pumped the pedal. I opened the bleeder maybe 5-6 times. Set it on the ground, and you could put the truck in gear, and you could actually let the clutch out, and then the truck would start to roll. Whereas before, like, you could pump it, get it into gear. If you revved it, the truck took off. If you just ever so slightly moved your foot off the firewall, basically, the truck would basically jump and stall out. There was no like gradual movement to that bearing. So we got that sorted. He snatched that up yesterday. I finished up the tune on Aragon, I believe his name is. He had a 2005 Silverado. So I tuned that yesterday morning. Came out really good. And it's kind of the first Gen 3 that I've tuned on my own in a very, very long time. But it came out really, really good. And then the Firebird is across the street. He's getting some paint stuff done. I called Central Florida Machine, and there's a whole bunch of stuff on this page, another page. So he's debating on what he's going to do. He might go iron block, get rid of the aluminum block. So that's kind of cool. But I don't really have anything to do, so I wheeled the Magnum in. I grabbed the aluminum block that I took out of Lewis's Trailblazer, some junk heads that I kept laying in the back. It's got a truck oil pan, which will not stay on this, so it's sitting really, really high right now. I also have the 4L80 case that I use is on there, and you can see it's stuffed up against the firewall right now. So I got the legs under it. I am going to see, I'm going to get it up in the air. I got the lift legs are under it. I'm going to get it up in the air, and I'm going to see, I'm going to measure this pan, and I'm going to measure the pan that I have on the motor behind Jeff's motor, because that is more that low profile pan. So I want to measure that and see how much difference I get in this. Unfortunately, I put that pan fully on, so I can't take it off and use it on this block. But I could maybe take this pan and just lop that much off and just kind of make not even make anything, just lop it off and leave it there. I don't know, we'll see. But I want to get it up in the air. I kind of want to see where the transmission's sitting. The motor's got to go way back, a good probably 3-4 inches. It's got to go back, and then you can see it's on the cross member. Then there's the sway bar, the anti-sway bar, I believe. Yeah, the rack and pinion's in front, so that's good. The anti-sway bar is back there, so that might be a situation of having to take that off if I can leave that cross member. If I have to notch that cross member, I'm not too concerned about having to notch the cross member, but the power steering lines are in front of it. You can kind of see them right here. So it's not something I can really like do a forward kind of bar, because I have a bunch of chromoly and stuff. I could make kind of a new cross member that kind of turns, but I don't think I'll be able to with that. The other option I was looking at, it has this cross member up here which ties the horns together, is maybe cutting that one out and putting one farther back, you know, kind of moving it back farther. Excuse me. But I gotta get it up in there and see. Let me get it up in there and we'll check it out. But I already got the level and the digital scale on it, so we'll see. Alright, so this is actually a K-member subframe. That whole piece is a subframe, which I'm not going to try and re-engineer everything, but the lower control arm bolts in right here, which is underneath the frame of that subframe, and it's all pocketed in. The sway bar, which sits really low anyways, and you don't need it to, because if this was up here, it moves with the control arm and the strut, so it doesn't need to be there. But kind of what I'm looking at is I may maybe I'll smash my head another time. I'm gonna take the sway bar off. I'm gonna unbolt it nice, I think, and then what I'm gonna do, because I also have to keep in mind the rack and pinion bolts up. Yep, it bolts up there, so there's literally nothing here other than that keeps the subframe stiffened a little bit and keeps it from closing in, but it's attached through here onto the frame rail of the car, which is actually a decent frame rail. It's thin, but it's not like tinfoil thin. Not tinfoil thin, but it's not extra thin. So my idea of welding motor mounts to the frame, I think, is going to be out. I think I'm going to go right on the top of this cross member and just come up to it, but I got to get this down, especially considering the transmission is wedged up in the floor. So this needs to come down. The pan should sit almost flush across that floorboard, the lip of the pan, I should say. Flange, the mounting flange for the pan. Then that'll give me room for some more stuff. I don't know about the shifter, so it might need to sit a little bit lower or whatever. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbolt this, and then I'm just going to sawzall across just wide enough to get this pan to come down, because I've got a ton of room here, which I'll have more room with the other pan. So I could essentially just set this pan right on top of the rack of pinion and say that's good, because then when I put the other pan on, or I put the actual motor in with the other pan, it'll actually give it a little bit of space. And I'll measure it all out wherever it sits. I'll measure it all out, but I know for a fact that the other pan is way shallower than this in the front, and in the back. I think it's overall shallower, and it's actually skinnier. Like this is a truck pan, same pan that's going kind of in the car right now. So you see how wide that is, how tall that is. So it might be about the same height here. But it's definitely a little lower there. And then the bottom is actually lower. So I need to kind of look and see. Oh, where that oil came from. Maybe me flipping it over. That's got a couple drips, but oh, there's oil everywhere. I spilled. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I'm gonna get the sway bar out, get that cut, and then see where I'm at. Alright, so I just recorded everything, and some dumb shit has to keep texting me, so it messed everything up. But I cut this side of the frame rail all the way through, and the only drop is from the motor pushing down on it. It's not even a nail width, but it's cut all the way through. All along the top is cut, and it didn't pull apart. It's not acting all crazy, so there's no tension in it. So I'm going to cut this side. I'm going to measure probably the inside of this to the inside of that, and I'll write that measurement in here or over there, whichever. And then I'll always be able to take a straight edge and go across from the bottom here to the bottom here and know that the two sides are level with each other. So I'm going to cut this side out. Motor's going to try and fall. Hopefully it doesn't try to kill me. I believe it's gonna, but it should just land on the rack. Shouldn't really mess anything up, but yeah, I'm gonna cut it. All right, I got it cut out. That is thin. That whole subframe, that's paper thin. So I got it cut out, and then I just flipped this over just to hold the back. And from what it looks like from down here, I am way too far back now, which is good because that'll bring the shift lever farther out. It'll bring the transmission mount a little bit closer to these points, because obviously this won't work, but it's got room to go forward. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this just as a reference to go up against the line. And that'll be about as far forward. Front room, ton of room, because basically the water pump sticks out the farthest, and the water pump probably sticks out to about here. Plenty of room there, so I think we're good. The only sort of kind of concern would be the exhaust, but I think we're even going to be okay with the exhaust not running into the steering column. I believe this is the shifter cable. So I gotta get that out as well. I'm not gonna be able to run the new one through there. So, but that's okay. I'll figure that out. Yeah. So I might push this forward, and then I'm gonna lower the car and kind of see where it's at. Because pushing it forward, I mean, you can see there's a ton of room up top now. There's a bunch of room up top. So pushing this forward, I can't do it. I got enough room for that. I should have enough room for the lines, because the transmission I'm using is going to be a front and rear port style, more the newer LS style case. So it's got a port up front and a port in the back. That's the older case, but it doesn't matter. But I believe, just by looking, I believe I got room, plenty of room for a line there. And I got a really cool line kit off of Amazon. Yeah, this one here. So I got the trans cooler there with the fittings in it. This one, so it's got like the hydraulic crimp fittings. It came with 4L80 fittings, a whole bunch of nice swivel stainless 90s and stuff. So I mean, it's a pretty neat kit. I can't remember the length on these hoses. They might be the 72 inch can't remember. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're 72 inches each, so I think that'll be more than enough to go, you know, one line from right here and, you know, maybe against the block. I don't really know, because it depends on the exhaust. The exhaust over here, tons of room. Could even use a long tube header if I wanted to. This side, I would guess you can get a long tube header in there. I wish I still had the set that I used to have, but I gave them to somebody. I may order a set, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, let me let the car down and kind of see where we're at angle. It looks like it's pitched way back, but it's on the lift and the car's leaning way back because I got the risers up here. So blah blah blah. All right, so back down on the ground. I pulled the motor forward, so I could probably go forward a little bit more. That head is almost touching the insulation. This head's got a little bit of room behind it, but now mind you, the motor, the pan is probably sitting on a bolt or something, but the motor's close to being level. And without doing anything with the transmission right now, and without trying to lean on the car, it's sitting at 3.4 degrees down in the back, which is like very good. And I can raise the back of the transmission to get that to about 3 degrees. 3 degrees is fine. And I zeroed the level to the frame of the car, because the car is front high right now, which gives it the illusion that the motor is even on more of an angle. But once there's an assembled motor in there and it goes down in the front, it'll still read the same 3 degrees. You know, like right now, if I put perfectly horizontal line, perfectly level line, and zeroed that, then stuck it on the motor, it would probably tell me it was like 6 degrees. But then when I put the motor in, it'll go down to 3 degrees. So that's where I want to be. So I mean, that's pretty good. And then looking, I got the top of the subframe here. I got to pull that mount forward, and then I got the top of the subframe here, which I can pull that mount a little more forward. So I think I'll be good with kind of these tabs that this kit comes with. Kind of hoping I don't have to make them longer, which, yeah, I'm gonna throw that one down there. We don't need it. Let's just get another one. I'll just keep getting them until I don't need them. So I might be wrong, but, well, no. So if I notch it so it's half down and half on here, that would work out pretty good for the front one. The back one, I gotta decide what I'm gonna do with the cross member. Oh, I just broke my overflow jug. Oh no. I'll have to make a new one. Simple as that, because this one's all busted up anyways. Yeah, see? It's broke. Right there, it's broke. Yeah, I'm not using that one. So I'll get rid of that. I got a cap. Get rid of that, and then it ties into the heater hose. So I'll just have to figure out a way. What is that? Power steering. Man, that's a massive power steering line. I don't remember all this stuff. I don't remember half this stuff, I'll be honest. Yeah, but I think I'll be in good shape. I got to get rid of the transmission lines as well. So I'll get those off. The power steering lines look like this one might be all right to bend and finagle. Lower radiator hose has to go to the other side. Upper radiator hose needs to be turned, and that looks like it might actually fit like a F-body water pump, which I think the Firebird had one. I have the same one, but I think mine's buried right now. Yeah, so it has that port on that side. So that works out. Don't see my water pump. There's the exhaust manifolds I had on it. But I'm gonna work on these two plates, or getting the motor position centered, level, side to side. I'm gonna work on that. By the end of today, it'd be nice if I had both sides at least tacked in for now. Yeah, something happened. This plate got tight. There it goes. So yeah, that one comes forward too, so I should be able to catch the front one. The back one we'll figure out. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to measure the motor. It looks like it might need to get kicked that way a hair. I believe these cars are pretty square on the frame rails. So I could probably use the frame rails to measure to something, maybe to the cam plate bolt, because those are centered in the block. So that might be what I do. I'll measure from the frame rail to the cam, frame rail to the cam, and then I'll center the motor, and I'll start working on this side, get it tacked in, and then I'll work on that side. I'll get it tacked in. At least if I can get the two front ones kind of tacked for now. The back, I'll figure that out. But yeah, done talking. I'm doing. Alrighty, so motor's in. Well, a motor is in. The mounts are welded in. Sort of painted. Didn't paint that one. Missed it by that much. This side, missed that one. But not painted like painted, just painted so it doesn't rot out. But that's in. I already put it up in the air. Still sitting damn near dead level. It's actually all cattywampus on the heads. It's all cattywampus. Yeah, apparently this level does not sit very nice. Yeah, it's pretty close. Also kept the, oh well, it shut off now, but I don't know that it'll just, yeah, 3.6. So pretty close there. Again, haven't done the transmission. I had it up in the air. I was gonna do the transmission mount, but I don't have a rubber mount for the transmission, so I don't really know where. I know where I'd be running, but I don't know the height of the bar if I need to come down. So I can't really do much there. So I'm gonna try and pick one up in the morning or order one. But so I jumped inside, snatched out the original shifter. I thought it would be kind of cool to try and use it, but then I started looking. I'm not even gonna bother because it's got like all those safety mechanisms and everything. So there's one safety is there, one is there. This one's triggered by like some solenoid in the back that's no good. This big piece here, it's like a little electric motor, and it snatches something up in there, and it doesn't even like hum or buzz or do anything. So, and I did rebuild this with this metal piece a while back, but it doesn't release, so it doesn't come out of park. So throwing it away, and I got a B&M Magnum shifter for it a long time ago. It's got the 2 buttons and like the pistol grip style. So I took this console piece out. This is what fits in there, and I just shaped a bunch of it. The only issue I'm going to run into is the cable comes out through here, so that's going to be a little bit of an issue. I mean, it'll clear it, but I mean, I don't know, you know, I'm not really sure because it's got this thing here that pops out all fancy and cool. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle that exactly. If I could kind of sneak the cable underneath of everything, I will, but I gotta get it through the floor, so I want it to point kind of down. I think that's how I have it. I'll have to make a plate to bolt in to raise the shifter up a bunch. I gotta make sure it doesn't hit the back. Plus, I can already tell the big groove in the back is way below this, so I'm probably gonna have to notch all the way out of it, and it might not work in the position it's in, so that's why I didn't really come back anymore. If I need to go forward more, I can, but this has like a little rubber pad that covers it. Not too concerned about that. I can kind of trim the pad and glue it down, but that's how you bolt it. That side's broke, but this side is how you bolt it down. And then it's got two of those snap clips. Of course, one is broke, one is not. So, still waiting on the gate to come too. I had to reorder a gate because the one that I had to give Nathan when I sold him the shifter that I originally had. So I reordered the shifter. I'm waiting for the 4-speed gate to come. Who knows when that'll be here. So I don't know. I could still probably get this mounted because I know that this is going to fall almost all the way to the back. Not quite, but I know it goes farther back than that. I just don't know the position that it goes to. I really need that gate. So tomorrow I'll probably work on getting the cables out, and then that's kind of everything that's coming out of the car. Inside wise anyways, that's going to be everything that comes out. Seeing there's like that other piece there that snaps onto the other shifter. Not going to use this, so this is garbage. This knob is garbage. One thing I did find, that the transmission lines, which is this one and the one below it, you can see how they go in front of the radiator and then turn over. There's actually its own transmission coolers already there. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna go about that one. I mean, the easiest thing to do would be to cut those lines and put 2 compression fittings, like compression AN fittings, but I'm not a fan of the compression AN fittings. So I might, tomorrow, I might come in and take this whole front end. That's how you gotta get everything apart, is through the front end, is how I'm assuming. But I think that's, see, I don't even know. I think that's the radiator. And then there's the power steering cooler. I don't see an AC condenser though. But I know it has one. I think. Yeah. There's the AC line. It goes out front. Can't see nothing. So it goes out front too. I don't know. I got to get the front of the car apart, kind of see what's in there, and then if I end up taking that transmission cooler out, that's fine. I have that other one, but kind of sort of a hold up today, other than just getting that cable out right there, and then finding what that other cable is. But I'll have to put some sort of plug in that firewall, unless I just cut the cable off, which is probably what I'll do, and leave that grommet in there. That grommet might work if I do a Holly. So yeah, anyways, I'm done for today. I appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified. Leave me a comment. As always, have a good day.